I mean, just to trigger Josh. Yeah, this game doesn't matter. We'll see you in the playoffs.
Welcome to My God a Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I preview Georgia's matchup with Clemson in the Aflac Kickoff Game in Atlanta. We talk through what we're looking for in the game, and we answer questions from you, our listeners. As always, remember to check out the newly redesigned MyGottaPodcast.com to see our latest merch. And you can follow us on social media at MyGottaPodcast. Finally, if you need help with your website or your online presence, head over to workingwebmedia.com/dogs. Now, let's join the conversation in progress. All right, JP, the season has arrived. It is game week. Dogs and the Tigers. We've made it through the season preview. Time to preview a game.
Let's kick the tires and light the fires. Time to roll.
Time to roll. What do you got there?
I have a Sazerac rye that I just opened that I have actually had it in there and I haven't had it in a while. And I was talking with somebody today at my daughter's cheerleading. And we got to talking, and he was a bourbon guy, and he's more of a rye guy, it sounded like. And he was talking about Sazerac, and I was like, ooh, I haven't had that in a while. I'm going to drink that when I record my podcast.
Nice.
And then come to find out he's a Georgia fan, and he subscribed to the podcast right then and there.
I see, there you go, spreading the word.
Always be closing, Jim. Always be closing.
little podcast marketing on the side. I'm doing this for I will say for John Smith, no longer John Tweet Sports, handle change on Twitter. But back in 2021, this Weller Special Reserve Green Label is what he brought to the tailgate that Greg and Rodeo hosted up here in Charlotte, and never looked back since. So that was kind of my introduction to finer bourbon. So no combos tonight, but I do have the Weller Special Reserve.
I like it.
I'm throwing it back to the last time we played these. Which, on that, I mean, when we think back, that's what started this whole ride that we're on. We've been on for these few years. Kind of started back with that 2021.
It all started with the season opener against Clemson. That's right.
Yeah.
So many things started.
So many. That was our second year of the podcast since we decided to start a podcast during COVID. But
yeah,
I feel like podcast kind of really took form that year. And then, we ended the drought. We met so many of the folks that, we now know, and folks that listen that we tailgate with and talk to all the time. I feel like came from that season and even from that game, really. So
yeah, I mean, you met everybody. Like that's where a lot of the foundational elements. I mean, first time I met your dad, and that was that was the catalyst for a lot of relationship building that kind of built from there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, do you know what is your plan, your attendance plan? Do you know yet?
I don't think that I'm going to be going down there. The noon kickoff, just trying to sort that out on the weekend. I don't know that I'm going to go. I'm going to head down there Friday night, the night before there's a little shindig that the Follywood folks are putting on over at the West Side Motor Lodge, right?
West Side Motor Lounge. Yeah.
Motor Lounge, that's what it was. And so we're gonna go down there and have some good times with some live music. And yeah, I think that's gonna be the extent of my festivities this weekend.
Okay. Nice. I will be sure to put a link to that in the show notes where folks can go and order tickets. That is from 3 to 11 on Friday, all ages. Kids 12 and under get it in free. So, hey, I don't know if you're taking Carter or any of the kids, but those who are under 12 get in free. The Pink Stones are there they're an Athens band, and then Jupiter Coyotes at 6. There's a Clemson band that I'm not familiar with. I'm not sure if it's Dazer or D-A-Z-R, but they're there too. So I would totally go. I can't. It's going to be hard for me because I am coming to the game, but Lily and I are coming, and so we're not going to, head. I've got to work, and she has school, so we're not going to head down until end of the workday on Friday. So I would miss it. So I'm not going to be able to make it to that. Otherwise, I would. If I could
It
just take the
sounds
day off or something, I would have to pull away out of school. So not gonna do that.
yeah, it's always tough when the kids have school.
Yeah. So, but it does sound like a good time. So
Yeah, it should be fun. I think John Smith is going to come with me, and like as you mentioned, I'm going to see if the kids want to go. But again, that's also going to be difficult because Carter doesn't actually get out of school until like he doesn't get off the bus until 5 o'clock.
man, that's late.
It's so late. It's so frustrating too. Like because he misses out on a lot of stuff. Like you
Yeah.
know, basically get home and then go to. In some cases, you got to go to practice and all that jazz.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of how it is here. Like now, Lily does get at least get home earlier now. The high school, they go the earliest and get home the earliest. So
Yeah.
middle school is brutal.
Shout out to Carter, he just turned 13. Happy
Ah,
happy birthday, Carter.
happy birthday, Carter! Don't even have to say sorry, Carter. And new wasn't one of the gifts was college football 25, and you've now learned how easy it is to throw interceptions, and so now you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Carter and I played. The first game that we played was he was Georgia and that was his claim. He had already claimed it before I had sat down.
Nice,
And instead of playing Georgia versus Georgia, I said, okay, let's go next step down. So we went to Dan Lanning out of Oregon.
nice.
And the Bulldogs ended up pulling out a squeaker, and there were a total of 10 interceptions that included three pick sixes. Um,
Amazing.
it was not Carson Beck's best day, um, but they did pull out the win. As it was, I was having trouble with the field goal mechanisms,
Oh, it's field goals are so hard,
which did not do Clemson or did not do Oregon any favors.
especially if you get the stadium pulse. If you're playing at Georgia, I don't know where you're playing, but
Oh man, it's like
I'm so glad that you have the game and now we can talk about it. I promise we won't just talk about that game on this podcast.
this is now a college football 25 podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna change.
Dude,
We're gonna
it's
have
so
like
hard though.
we're gonna have like a
It's so
YouTube
hard.
stream of us playing.
Twitch. The kids call it Twitch.
Yeah, I guess we could do it on Twitch or TikTok or something. Amazing. Well, again, happy birthday, Carter.
Yeah,
Glad
he
you
had a
the
good
game.
time. Good time.
We
He's got a
actually
putting green. He's got a putting green now
nice.
that he just got it today. It was a late arrival.
Okay,
But so we've got like this little putting green situation in the playroom. So I've been listening to him putting from way downtown.
nice.
Lots of putts for the Masters Championship.
Perfect. I do feel like now I feel like I'm having like deja vu where I guarantee this happens like first game preview every year. I'm like, oh, Kim and Carter their birthdays are right next to each other. Yesterday was Kim's birthday, so we also did some gaming for Kim's birthday with a new Super Mario game. So a little different flavor, but got a new Switch game, so that was fun.
Sweet.
All right, why don't we dive into the matchup?
There's a game this
There is a
weekend,
game.
right?
There's a game. The dogs and the Tigers. So kickoff is, as you mentioned, noon. We got a nooner for the first game at Mercedes-Benz. At Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. Let's see. The dogs were 13-1 and 8-0 in the SEC last year, in the regular season at least. Clemson 9-4, 4-4 in the ACC. Rankings for this year, dogs are consensus number 1 in AP and coaches poll, and Clemson is 14 in both. This game is not on CBS. Not that it wouldn't have been anyway, but we get an early look at what being on ABC is going to be like. We've got a good crew though. We've got Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy, and Molly McGrath on the call. I will point out, John, I think that the folks who maintain the game notes are a little out of practice because the official game notes say that the official hashtag on Twitter is UGA versus GT, and I don't think that's right.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So
Someone
yeah,
Yeah, it actually it has the link to the history. The history is the link is Georgia versus Georgia Tech.
I will tell you that link does go to the Georgia Clemson history at least, but it says Georgia Tech, but it is the Clemson history. So we don't know what the official hashtag is. We'll alert everyone once we learn that.
Actually, isn't it? It's on the other page.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Hashtag Clem versus UGA.
Okay. Man, I want now. The fact that it's just hashtag Clem just makes me think of Clem and his son. So
Clem and his son.
let's see the all-time series. Georgia leads. I mean, this is pretty lopsided. We lead the all-time series 43-18-4. As we mentioned earlier, the last time we met was that 10-3 win in Charlotte. That kind of got us going on this run that we're on. Let's see the weather. Going to be hot. So low of 72. That's going to be 87 at kickoff at noon, and the high is at 92 at 4. I guess that's why they're closing the roof. So the roof at the Benz will be closed for some reason. I guess because it's too hot. I guess I'm not going to complain. Like, I'll be happy with the air conditioning. So overall, I guess I'm going with that.
It's definitely still warm out there, folks. I know that John was upset. He wanted to crank the heat up on everybody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it would definitely have been unpleasantly warm inside the stadium, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm good with that. I can't even remember last time or the Georgia Oregon game 2 years ago if it was open or closed. I can't remember. I'll have to go look through see if I can find any pictures I took. Not sure. That one wasn't at noon. All right, that's what we got for the matchup. I believe you have some fun facts for us, JP. Why don't we transition into JP's fun?
We do have some fun facts. There's a lot of fun facts about know your foe type stuff. So we're playing Clemson College that was originally founded as a military school. Did you know that, Jim?
I did not know that.
Their early students were cadets, and they looked like modern day. They look like modern day, army cadets. They look like they have the gray uniforms, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Do you know what Clemson's original colors were?
I'm guessing they were not orange and purple.
They were not orange and purple. Their first school colors were red and blue.
Oh, man, I was gonna say red and black just to be funny, but I should have said it because it would have been pretty close.
Yeah, and we actually have on multiple levels, more reasons to hate Clemson as a rival, because they didn't adopt the orange and purple until they had a football team, basically. Walter Riggs created the team in 1896, and Riggs was actually from Auburn and took the idea of orange from the University of Auburn or Auburn University, whatever. So orange, Clemson, orange, Auburn, Georgia hate.
Interesting.
The football team also has a cemetery on campus. Every time they defeat a top 25 opponent, they add a tombstone outside of their football facilities to commemorate the loss.
I had no idea. Okay.
The death of their opponent on their own field. Like
so is that
they add the tombstone on away wins to top 25 teams. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Interesting. So do the tombstones go with Death Valley? Is that
Death Valley? Correct. Yes. That name actually came from, I can't remember. I know that's in my notes somewhere. It's buried deep in one of these pages, but the term Death Valley actually came from a coach that disliked going there so much, and they called it Death Valley. Additionally, Howard's Rock. I believe that Yara mentioned this on Chapel Bell Curve. She went through a whole thing on where the rock came from.
Shout
I
out
believe
Yara.
that the rock. Yeah, shout out Yara. I believe that the rock was from Death Valley, if I remember as well. That was another Death Valley connection.
Gotcha. Okay.
It was a doorstop, FYI. Spoiler alert. It was a doorstop for many years, and then somehow became. You can listen to Chapel Bell Curve, and it will tell you all about the rock.
Nice. Nice.
Friends of the show.
That's right.
Let's see here. There's a secret book that literally everybody signs. I guess that you check it out from the library. They've had to rebind it a lot. So if you go to the university, you are expected to sign this book. They apparently have 8 airplane statues that are placed all throughout the campus. And you have to find and touch all of them before you graduate.
Okay.
For some reason, I think that maybe it's a military thing. I can't confirm that.
Okay.
But it wasn't all male military school to begin with. So those first few pages and chapters in that in that book are going to be all men.
Okay. Makes sense.
The all men's college from South Carolina. Let's see here. What else do we got? Jim and you and I were talking about this before, since we were talking about some of the football coloration logos.
Yeah.
Um, did you know that there is a unique Clemson paw?
Only because accidentally ended up talking about it.
So if you look at the Clemson paw, in the bottom right corner, there is a little hook that is kind of there. On all of their officially licensed merchandise, you will see that hook. And I think that, Jim, you've got a picture of it that you can show to the folks as well.
Yep. Right.
Um, are you sharing it now or?
Yes.
Okay, got it. In the bottom right, you'll see that there's a little hook. That hook is actually from a scar that the original tiger that they used to plaster cast the paw print. The tiger that they used from, I think it was some kind of some animal sanctuary or zoo up in Chicago. Um, the tiger actually had a scar, and so that's what that little hook is. It's an imprint of the scar that the the tiger had that they used. So you will know that your merchandise is legit when you see a hook, basically, if you are a Clemson fan.
Nice.
I would
Yeah.
just throw it, I would just throw it in the trash, but that's just me.
Yeah. I never knew that, so I definitely learned that. So yeah.
They also the cheerleaders they wear a tiger rag. They wear a tiger rag on their left wrist that when they tie it, it has to display the letters IPTAY, IPTAY, I guess. That is a that stands for I pay 10 a year, and that is an homage to their like athletic endowment.
Hmm. Okay.
That's like their fund or whatever. And I guess it's like really successful, one of the more successful fundraising arms of a university in the country, apparently. Um, they also wear a tiger paw on their left cheek. So they and it's turned to 1 o'clock. I guess a long time ago the football games were played at 1 o'clock, and so that's why they have the tiger paw pointed in that direction.
Hmm. Okay.
That's just like some of their things. And then every Friday they have a holiday, which I guess that will put this to the test when we go, John, on Friday. We'll call out all the imposter Clemson fans that are not wearing orange because every Friday is solid orange Friday and they must wear orange. So I will go with an all red ensemble on Friday just so that we can offset that.
I like it. I like it.
The other thing that they do that I don't think that they're going to get a chance to do it in this game, but they go to the field. They rush the field. This is something else that Yara had mentioned, but I did see it in multiple places. They meet at the paw. So after every game, win or lose, they go on the field and sing the alma mater.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but that's like what their thing does. That's what they do. So
Yeah. I know. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a text when they beat someone, and like, and then they all end up on the field, and like the text will be like, "Really? They're storming the field because they beat insert team." Like it could be like Duke or something, and it's like, wow, like they do it every game. Yeah,
right.
it's crazy.
Right. The other thing that I will say that is also like something that is like such a Clemson thing to do, but they have they have an Oculus building at their stadium that is a giant tower, and it's two pillars, and there's a divider in the middle, and there's an angle. I should have sent you a picture of this one too. Sorry, I forgot. It was in my notes, but
That's okay.
if you go and look at a picture, Google, if you Google the Clemson Oculus, you'll see how it looks like this. But it is designed in a way to look like the national championship, the CFP national championship trophy. And it is such a Clemson thing to do to win a national championship and build a giant building on their football field to commemorate the event.
That tracks.
But yeah, it's got this angle on it that makes it look like the CFP trophy.
Interesting.
It was their design choice. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Famous alumni. Nikki Haley, of political fame. Let's see here. What was another one? Dolph Lundgren
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren.
of 80s and early 90s action. Lundgren, is that his name? Is
Yeah,
that how you say
yeah.
it?
He was He-Man, and he was in Rocky 4. He was
He,
the
he played Ivan,
Ivan
right?
Drago. Yeah.
Drago, yeah, yeah. I would say that he's probably the most famous because all these other ones are like political, like Strom Thurmond, famous racist. John Edwards of many political scandal. Oh, one of my '90s folks will probably know this. Horace Grant,
Hmm. Yeah.
famous basketball player from the Chicago Bulls.
In the Magic
Um,
and wore rec specs.
and he did wear rec specs. Let's see here. Yeah. Oh, soccer fans, Oguchi Onyewu, also known as Gooch, famous U.S. soccer player. Lee Brice, country singer Lee Brice, is also a Clemson alumni. Um, Travis Etienne, Etienne's brother, is also a famous alumni.
Accurate.
Uh, let's see here. I don't I think that that's pretty much it because there's nothing else really. Another U.S. soccer, Stuart Holden. He's another for my soccer fans out there. That's pretty much it. Oh, and I do have one more, and then we can move on. Clemson has. I feel like we've talked about this so many times. Like, dude, like let's just take a moment to respect John Heisman. So John Heisman coached at Clemson, Auburn, and Georgia Tech. It's like the guy was literally born to coach teams that are rivals of Georgia.
Yeah, I know. I know. It is. It is wild.
Yeah, I was looking at it. I saw him mentioned. So he coached there from 1900 to 1903 and left to go and basically be literally everything at Georgia Tech. He was the football coach from 1904 to 1919, and he was the basketball coach from 1908 to 1909, and again 1912 to 1914, and then he was the baseball coach from 1904 to 1917 at Georgia Tech, and he was the administrator.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The dude did everything. He was also Clemson's baseball coach as well, during that time that he was the football coach. So
Yeah.
anyway, the guy went from Auburn and Clemson to Georgia Tech, and forever will be, you're dead to me.
Yeah. Horrible. All poor decisions.
All board decisions. That's all I got
Okay.
from JP's fun facts.
Nice. Do you want to run with back again for a second season? Hasty's hard grit history, or do you want me to go to
Yes.
that? Yeah, you can.
Was that a question, or do you want me to run? Like,
Yeah.
I can run through it. It's fine.
Yeah.
We got to
Okay.
get
Cool.
Jason some theme music.
Oh, that is true. That is true. Jason, hit us.
Alrighty.
I mean, if Jason, if you have anything you like prefer, we're open to suggestions. Otherwise, happy to come up with something. Yeah, we definitely need some
Yeah,
theme music.
dear,
I
dear
agree.
listener, if you have any suggestions for Hasty's history corner, we'll do that.
Nice.
All right.
Good call. Good call, JP.
Thanks. Thanks again, Jason. But here we go. This is what Jason's got for Clemson. The topic of athletes and coaches betting on games has been contentious from the 19th century through to today. The Black Sox scandal in 1919, the Butts Bryant controversy, the Boston College points shaving scandal in the late 70s, and Pete Rose generally all stand as reminders of how controversial sports betting can be. In 1903, the Georgia and Clemson teams engaged in a large wager. Through this, though this was less scandalous than it might initially sound, the Georgia and Clemson teams first met in 1897, and Clemson won seven consecutive meetings from 1900 to 1906. Should be noted here that Clemson has only managed to win 11 games in the series since 1906. Go Dogs, Jason says.
I feel like he should have inserted like a mic drop emoji in the middle of his email, but he continued.
Yes. Jason, he's spiking the football on that one.
Oh,
But that is crazy. 11 games. They've only won 11 games since 1906. Like use that in your smack talk. B Rad and company.
yeah.
All right. We move on. The 1903 Georgia team coached by Marvin Dickinson was hapless. While Clemson fielded a strong team, Georgia managed a record of only 3 wins against 4 losses, with one of those losses to an athletic club from Savannah. Clemson, on the other hand, put up a record of 4 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie that year, and were the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Association co-champions, along with powerhouse football club Cumberland College. To start the 1903 season off, Clemson beat Georgia 29 to nothing. After the game, Georgia's players bet the Clemson players 1 bushel of apples for every point over 29 that Clemson scored against Georgia Tech, which was Clemson's opponent the next week. Clemson beat Georgia Tech 73 to nothing. So the Georgia team owed Clemson 44 bushels of apples. I don't know. I mean, I feel like we need some math here, but like 44 bushels is a lot of apples, is effectively what we decided.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clemson, Clemson students who were described by the Atlanta Journal in an article on October 19th, 1903, as they described them as living in a dim and secluded spot. They had a voracious appetite for apples. The journal went on to say eating apples is said to be the crowning dissipation of the Clemson student body. The town itself has not yet been incorporated on the map, and such habits as the demon rum, ping pong, and other forms of vice known to a large city are unknown. What a, what a weird, what a weird thing to say, agency.
Uh,
Uh, why do they have such an appetite for apples? We can only wonder. Perhaps their diet was poor. Perhaps they didn't come across a recipe. Perhaps they'd come across a recipe for homemade apple brandy. Regardless of the reasons, we can only hope that the NCAA statute of limitations on gambling fresh fruit has passed and that all parties were satisfied with their wager and with Tech's humiliation. As a side note, Clemson's coach, as we just discussed, that year would go on to coach at Tech starting the very next season. His name was John Heisman.
wow.
That was Hasty's Hugger history. Um,
I
yeah,
did.
that's a
I
that's a
did.
lot of that's a lot of bushels of apples, guys.
It is a lot. And so for those who are not, if you're just doing the audio, just a heads up, like with these in the YouTube version, there are artifacts that Jason sends along with them. So for you, those of you who are watching on YouTube, you saw those. We've got article clippings, picture images of the team from 1903. Which the funny thing I thought about that is that on the photo of the 1903 Georgia team, there's a little thing at the bottom which just says apostrophe '03. So even back then, I don't know. It's always funny. It's like the two digit year thing to me. They were doing that back then
Right.
too. But yeah, it's a
Ah,
little extra for the YouTube folks, for the YouTube crowd.
curious how many apples. I didn't even look at this.
How many apples are in a bushel?
Yeah.
I should know from when I go
One
apple
bushel,
picking.
yeah, 1 bushel of apples is about 42 pounds, and it's about 120 medium-sized apples.
Wow.
That is a lot of apples.
I
They
mean,
had to have been making alcohol. They had to have been making booze with
someone had to have said, "How do you like them apples?" Right?
it.
I'm just saying. Did they send them any Macintosh? Kenny. Hey, Kenny made the off the rails. Kenny McIntosh
Off
made
the
the
rails.
he made the Seattle Seahawks. By the way, congrats.
You love to see it.
Love to see it.
And Dejan made the Steelers squad, right?
No, no, no.
No?
Dejan, no.
No,
Dejan, no.
I thought Lamar said that he was going to make the squad. Oh.
No, and, Kenny McInt, not Kenny Mesh. Kendall Milton also did not make the.
Mm,
They were,
ouch.
they were undrafted free agents, so it's tough.
That is tough. I like to see our dogs have success. Don't really pay attention to the NFL much.
Yeah. All right. Let's got a couple news and notes. Not a ton, but did I listened to Kirby's Monday press conference yesterday. We're recording on Tuesday. And basically two things. One, Kirby will not talk about suspensions. And it doesn't matter which reporter asks him or how many times they ask him or how they rephrase the question. He refused to talk about it. People kept trying to like basically rephrase to be like, is Trevor Etienne going to play? And he was just like, don't talk about suspensions. And he would move on. Like that was all he would say. So he's not going to reveal that. The only other thing I will say that came out, that he did confirm, there had been a lot of rumors about Roderick Robinson. He has the dreaded turf toe that we've talked about that, as I can confirm, is a very difficult thing to go through. But what Kirby confirmed was what we had heard, we'd been seeing online, and we'd heard from Graham Coffey on Dog Central, actually. So we knew about it a few days before the press conference, but he had surgery. So Kirby did confirm that Roderick Robinson had surgery. So I think he said he's going to be a week-to-week kind of thing. So we'll see how that plays out. Hate that for him. Had heard he had been having a good off season. He was really coming on late last season. So hate that for Roderick, but hopefully a speedy recovery there. I will say I didn't hear Kirby say hopeful about anyone. Didn't hear any hopeful conversation. So for what that's worth, because we all know what that means.
Yeah.
Then the only other thing is I was going to say on the only other thing I heard on like Dabo Swinney type stuff. Apparently he is now like he refuses to like he has the coach's call-in show. I guess it's no longer a call-in show. He's not going to take live calls anymore. After like that one guy asked him like what he was doing with all his money, or he has decided to shut that down. Which I feel like most coaches these days. I mean, Kirby doesn't take live questions. Well, he does live, but you have to be there looking at him. Like in the audience, it's not like on the phone. I do remember like the Don and Colin show back in the day could get interesting. So yeah, I guess
Right.
I get it. All right.
I don't know. He hasn't been very forthcoming at all this week.
No.
Just a lot of coach speak. A
Yeah.
lot of Kirby's coach speak, which is like the worst kind of coach speak.
Right. Yeah. You just got to keep chopping. All right. You got to keep the main thing, and assume nothing. All right. That is the new one. The new one, by the way. Assume nothing is the new.
Oh, okay.
That's the
I
slogan.
guess I missed that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to
Assume nothing.
assume nothing, and it was on the. It was on the I'll say the phone wallpaper fake out where we had an exchange on Twitter with John Michael D earlier this week where he was like,
I didn't see the one that he sent. Yeah.
yeah, so the official wallpaper is out now, but there was a graphic. I'll just say a graphic that the school tweeted out on Monday, and it said
Wasn't it Dan Jackson?
it had Dan Jackson, it had Arian Smith, and then they just had like TV channel time, all that kind of stuff. But if you look there, it assumed nothing was on the graphic. You could find it on the graphic. It's kind of small. I had to like zoom in to see what it said, but that was on there. So yeah, that's the better never rests type slogan. This year's assume nothing.
Got it.
So we will assume nothing. John.
We will assume that we get nothing.
Yeah, we'll assume we get nothing. Yeah, fair. All right. Let's see. So we looked at the records already. Okay, why don't we just dive into what we're looking for in this game and in the matchups. So we can just talk through offense first. So what we're looking for when Georgia has the ball. So Clemson's defensive coordinator is Wes Goodwin. If you look at the stats from last year, Clemson had a pretty good defense last year. So they were 8th in the FBS for yards allowed. They're actually first in defensive success rate. And first in takeaways from what I've got. So, like I said, good defense last year coming in. They're leading. So these are all going to be returning players, some players to watch for. So the leading returning tackler is Barrett Carter. He's a senior linebacker. Picks Khalil Barnes. He's a safety. He's from Athens, actually. Is the leading return as far as interceptions. And then TJ Parker as a sophomore defensive end. He had 5.5 sacks last year. Other player to watch for, although it sounds like this may be more on the special teams thing. I think he's going to be more. He's not like starting or anything. Going to be more of a reserve on defense, but is my cousin Sammy Brown, unfortunately. So I don't know.
Uh,
Sammy, I hope you do well in every game after this game, unless we play you
yeah.
again.
Yeah, seriously.
And then not that one either. So what are you looking for on offense? I think the big thing is we talked about Roderick Robinson out, right, because he just had surgery, and then with ETN, like, is ETN going to play? I think that's the big question to me. I'm going into on the, I guess, the assume nothing mantra there. I'm just going into this game assuming ETN's going to be suspended. And if we send him out there, okay. But I'm just kind of preparing myself for him to not be out there. But either way, we're definitely down Roderick Robinson. So I don't know. So running rec room a little smaller. But what are you looking for out of the Georgia offense, JP?
Obviously, I'm going to be looking for us to. I think that ultimately how it's going to go for us on offense is we are going to. It's going to be a battle. I think that we're gonna battle. We're gonna have to go toe to toe with them for a while, and it's gonna feel like we're struggling. But I think that eventually our talent level will pull away from them for sure.
Yeah.
It's gonna be I mean, the first time we played these guys, with Kirby's squad, it was a slugfest, and we had, one of the best teams that we've had in a long time, and it was still a defensive grind for us.
Yeah.
I think that we figured out a better offensive identity since then, obviously. I think that we're gonna, Carson Beck's gonna get his yards. I also think that we may be picking him up more than we want to. But I think that the real key for us is going to be the running game because, when you look at everything from a stats standpoint, I think that Doug Quant had posted some, information about the running games, and it looked like that we were poised to be able to run on these guys. That seems like that's going to be what we're going to be able to do. I am a little concerned with the running back depth the way that it is. That was all, under the umbrella of having everybody full health and all that kind of jazz. So I'm a little concerned about that. So we'll see how that pans out for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I'll pull in a listener question here just so we can, while we're on the offense. Matthew Key had asked, like, with the injuries and potential suspensions of Etienne, like, who gets the majority of the playing time on Saturday? I mean, so I think Branson Robinson probably gets the start. So I think we're talking Branson Robinson, we're talking Cash Money Jones, and we're talking true freshman Nate Frazier, which, our friend Lamar from over 100 Sanford podcast has been singing his praises since, like, recruiting has been really high on him. And it sounds like he's had a good fall camp, and kid's got some breakaway speed. So interested to see what the freshman Mr. Frazier can do there out of the backfield.
Yeah, I'm definitely eager to see what he's got going on too.
But it will be wild if we run out there and Branson Robinson starts, though, considering he missed all last year with like a patella tendon injury. That's going to be pretty impressive if he comes back and starts his first game back. We haven't seen him since he was pouring on some late touchdowns against TCU in LA.
Right.
Okay. Cool. I think.
I mean, ultimately, if you want, like, the segue into talking about us on defense or whatever, but like, ultimately, the way that this game is going to go is how does their quarterback, how does Kubelik, how does he manage our defense? Because if he struggles against us, they're going to have a long day. And how does the trench play look? Like,
Yeah.
just like every game, like the trenches matter, but this particular game seems like it's going to be one where the trench warfare is going to be pretty brutal for both sides. They struggled with their offensive line last year, and our defensive line struggled, but by and large, we're looking for those guys to step up, right? So for our defense versus their offense. Like that's gonna be the key for us on the defensive side, and then our offensive line matches up pretty nicely with their defensive line, but they're pretty good on the defensive side, right? So
Yeah.
it could be a nice challenge for us to start the season, and ultimately it's going to come down to, which quarterback can outshine and play through to their strengths.
Yeah, I agree. And I really like, I mean, Carson Beck he's now down to second, last I saw, in like favorites for the Heisman, behind the Oregon quarterback, Dylan Gabriel. Um,
Hmm.
but I
Like
do,
how does that happen?
yeah,
Like
I
what
thought that was kind of weird. I did think that was weird. I saw that today. But I do
like does that
like,
mean that we should go and run out and put some money on Carson? Like did his odds just get better?
so yeah, well, I guess so, yeah. But yeah, I do like the weapons that Beck has around him. So even like beyond the running backs, I mean, love it. I expect to take even yet like another step forward. Dylan Bell, excited about him. Am curious with the thinness in the backfield. Does he get any carries? Probably not, but maybe something to watch for. And then what does Delp look like now that he's tight end one? So we'll be watching for all that too. I'm still curious to see if we do more vertically with Lovett. So we talked about like everything was very lateral with him. But I don't know. Maybe that's
I
we
mean,
save that for Arian Smith. I don't know.
there's so many weapons. Yeah, there's so many different ways that you can use to deploy that. And I feel like, shout out Craig. You got Bobo he knows how to put points on the board. And the best part about that is that he particularly knows how to put points on the board when he knows that he's got a good defense behind him that can support the offense.
True.
Yeah, I think that it's all going to be interesting. Based on the college football video game, I think Delph's going to have a good opportunity to succeed
Dude, he's amazing in that game.
because Carter is like beating me over the head with him. So
Amazing. Amazing.
yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, we can keep going there with what we're looking for when Clemson has the ball. So again, okay. So I did find this interesting. So let's see. Their offensive coordinator is Garrett Riley. I think this is year 2 there for him. Their offensive line coach is Matt Luke, who you may recall, was Georgia's offensive line coach. We backfilled him with JP's favorite, Stacey Searles. But if you recall, like Matt Luke left, like he left the coaching profession, like to spend time with his family, and now he's back. So make of that what you will. I thought that was interesting. But I know Kirby's got a lot of respect for him. That was mentioned in his press conference as well. So we'll
He
see what kind
pulled
of impact he has there.
he pulled an Urban Meyer, right? Like got out for personal reasons and then you came back.
And now he's back. So
Like not just back, but back in like, one of college football's preeminent programs, right? Like
yeah,
it's not like he came back to UAB or whatever.
right, exactly. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you
I think that
mentioned
they also have isn't their offensive coordinator
Garrett Riley.
Lincoln Riley is like his
He's his brother, I think, unless I'm
brother or cousin? Yeah, something like. Anyway, he coached with Lincoln Riley. He comes from the Lincoln Riley coaching tree.
yeah. And he was at TCU actually the year we played them.
That's right.
In the Natty.
That's right.
So yeah.
Hopefully that bodes well for our team.
Right. So it's kind of a different story though. Like we talked about, they had a really good, at least like FBS rank wise. Defense, offense was not as good last year. They were 52nd in FBS for yardage. But they do return, Kid Klubnik is back. He's a junior. He is also the second leading returning rusher from last year, but he wasn't like the second leading rusher. So Phil Maffa was the leading rusher last year. He's back. He had 965 yards and 13 touchdowns. Klubnik only had 180 yards rushing on the season. He did have 4 rushing touchdowns, so not like a crazy running threat or anything, but he had 125 carries, and I guess decent for a quarterback. So we'll watch out for that. And then their leading returning receiver that's back is a sophomore, Tyler Brown. He had 4 touchdowns last year, and then their tight end, Jake Brittingstool, is their second leading returning receiver. He had 498 yards and 5 touchdowns last year.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, I agree with your take earlier of like it's going to be a line of scrimmage battle. If we can do anything close to what we did to these guys back in 2021, I mean that game, like our defense was just insane. Now, granted, it was DJU that we were pressuring, so I don't know how that will
I mean,
translate
you
here.
say
But
that. I mean, you say that, but like, I watched a little bit. I watched a little bit of the bowl game film review,
mm-hmm.
and I've watched a little bit of the Clemson spring game. And you know, dude, Buddy is sometimes he gets, as Carter likes to say, he gets the yips,
Mm-hmm.
yips.
Yeah,
Like I've seen him make some bad decisions. So if you make bad decisions against our defense,
yeah,
those tend to those tend to yield good results for us.
yeah,
So
yeah,
no,
for sure.
I don't necessarily think that, and I do not anticipate that he's going to be able to sit back and pick us apart.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
Yeah.
So okay, we'll just keep watching for what we talked about in the season preview, which is like what's our D line and what's our interior D line going to look like specifically? Can we see somebody step up there? So that's probably the main thing I'm be watching for.
Yep.
We'd love to see Malachi Starks get another pick in the Benz like he did when he was a true freshman. I'm all for that.
Mm. Keep that tradition going.
That's right. That's right. All right. We can do a quick special teams thing here. So on special teams, let's see. They have had a fall camp kicking competition for place kicker, so we don't know who it's going to be. It will either be true freshman Nolan Hauser or returning sophomore Robert Gunn. Robert Gunn the third was 1 of 4 on field goals last year. But this Hauser kid was like a highly touted, recruited kicker. So we'll see who they try out there as kicker.
I'm going to go ahead and claim the name. If Hauser ends up winning the job, he's going to be the howitzer.
Okay. Yeah, that works. That works. And then let's see, their punter, his name is Aiden Swanson. He is a senior. He is not from Australia. So boring. Like, what are we even doing? Are you trying? They don't have an Australian punter. I'm just saying.
Weak sauce.
So yeah. So and then again, the question is, will they return a punt from Brett Thorson? Doubt it. And hopefully we'll have a good payday that's kicking a lot of extra points for us.
Yeah, seriously.
Cool. All right. Anything else, or you wanna hit the listener questions?
I mean, no, I'm like I said, I think that the biggest thing about this game is going to be how good is their quarterback going to be, and I haven't seen enough body of work based off of some of the processing that I saw. I think Brooks Austin was doing some film review stuff with Clemson, and he was really harping on his ability to read the defenses and read what was going on, and more importantly, make the quick decisions on what you need to do. And more often than not, his decision making just seems really suspect. So unless he's like the Riley as the offensive coordinator, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is his first year, right?
I think this is year. I think he went there last
This
year.
is his year too. He was there, or
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
okay. Well, unless he's just made impressive strides under Riley, kind of like a Bobo, and unless he's a quarterback whisperer, kind of thing. I don't have a huge amount of confidence that he's made that big of an impact. But could be wrong. But like I said, the way that Clemson's going to go is largely going to be defined by their quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. That
Defense will be good, but I think that I don't know. It's going to largely depend on the quarterback play from Clemson's side.
Yeah. Okay. I did confirm Riley was at Clemson last year. He went there January 12th, 2023, and he is the younger brother of Lincoln Riley. So
Younger brother.
yeah.
Got it.
Okay. All right. So the listener questions are brought to you by Working Web Media. So we worked with Working Web Media last offseason to totally redo our website. And we've been really happy with that. Much better, sleeker site. And we were really able to upgrade our merch store. So be sure to go check that out. First off, at mygodapodcast.com, you can see all our merch is all on there. That helps to support the show. But also, if maybe you've got a small business, maybe you need some help with your website or just your social media presence, go head over to workingwebmedia.com/dogs, and then they will know that we sent you their way. They've got a nice kind of splash welcome page for listeners of My God a Podcast. They would love to work with you. So be sure to go check them out. All right. First up, Dogs fan forever, our buddy Greg. Greg says, man, I'm nervous. We got to go on the road a lot this season, and that Dome Stadium in Atlanta, with all that noise, is going to be a tough place to open up. I worry about depth on the offensive line. We need Tate to stay healthy, and Man Trust has to hunker it down at right tackle. Greg was hardcore channeling some Munson with that comment.
Hardcore.
Appreciate the Munsoning, Greg. Hope to run into you before the game on Saturday. Yeah, I will say, I actually feel like we've got some pretty good depth on the offensive line. But obviously we want a friend of the show, Tate Ratledge, to stay healthy as well. So agreed there for sure.
Right.
All right. So we have said this multiple times. So Brett Belding comes in with his patented two-parter. The first one, and we've said it so many times, and I was thinking earlier, like, how are we saying it? Because he says, how do you pronounce Clemson? Is it Clemson or Clemson or something else? Like, are you familiar with this? A lot of people pronounce it where, like, there's a P in it.
Yeah.
Clemson. Which I feel like I kind of say it that way. Clemson.
I was actually having some self-doubt on this too, because I was originally like, yeah, it's Clemson. But then you're like, wait, you're talking about the game with folks or whatever, and I'm like, you're like, yeah, how's Clemson? You're like, yeah, we're gonna be playing Clemson. Shoot, do I say it with a P? Do I really say that? I mean, I think that I do. I think that I do say it with a P. So I'm gonna stick. Initially, I had Clemson, but I definitely my drawl comes out a little bit more on the P.
I'm with you. Unless I specifically say Clem and his son, I think I say Clemson. I feel like it just had a P in it.
The people that do Clem and his son, I feel like the people that do Clem and his son are trying to avoid saying Clemson.
Right. I will say, I've got a friend from high school who actually started at Clemson and then transferred to Georgia and finished at Georgia. But anyways, he said it like the second way. So Brett has it spelled Klemzen, and that's how he said it. And when I hear it said that way, it actually sounds weird to me. Like Clemson. That sounds weird to me.
Clemson.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like that doesn't sound right. So I guess there was like a discussion in the replies, by the way, to Brett, and somebody was like, only the South Carolina people say it that way, but I'm with you. I'm glad I'm not alone there. Then the other one we talked about a little bit, and I actually don't know the answer to this, but he said, are they the only big school who lets everyone on the field after home games? And he finished with the Go Dogs. I don't know. I don't know of anyone else that does that. And like I said, every time it happens, I get a text from somebody like, why are they rushing the field? Like, they only beat, whoever, like I said, Duke or whatever. I don't know of anyone else that does that. And you get fined like every time you do it, right? So
I thought they did too, but like, do they? I don't know. Because it seems like in this financial day and age of NIL, you don't want to throw away your money, right? You'd rather give it to your star quarterback or something.
Well, I mean, you said they have a great fundraising arm. Maybe that's why they got to pay for the fine for when they rush the field every game.
You'd think so, but like they've got Dabo Hickory Dickory Doc Dabo Swinney at the helm over there. So like I don't know what. He's so annoying.
I forgot about the Hickory Dickory Doc thing.
Yeah, dude. Like he's such a good. He is. Dabo Swinney is the biggest goober coach ever. And I do have a beef to pick with Nathan Lawrence, who was talking about Dabo and was really kind of dialing in on his, being a public university. And he talks a lot about his Christian faith and stuff. I mean, Mark Richt did that stuff. But the difference between Mark Richt and Dabo Swinney is that Mark Richt was like, it felt more sincere, and Mark Richt felt like your pastor on Sunday, and Dabo Swinney he gives me major Joel Osteen vibes. Like I think Nathan even said that. I think like he's the Joel Osteen, and Mark Richt is your your pastor on Sunday kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Dabo is just so over the top, and he just looks like he's a used car salesman when he talks about it.
Are they gonna drive or are they gonna fly? Because
I'm sure
remember,
they're flying, right?
I just remember there was also that video where they were flying over Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, and Dabo was like showing to DJU like that's where you're gonna throw touchdowns. And now there's like the classic edit where like yeah, it is where he threw a touchdown to Christopher Smith. So wonder
Yes,
if that'll happen again. Hopefully it does.
I'm
Uh,
sure. I'm sure they'll be flying to us. I mean, it's Atlanta. It's not like they're going to Athens.
right. All right. Let's see. 51-7 GATA. Now that we know which jersey will be used, it probably needs to be asked. How much fun do y'all think UGA football equipment has had trolling the fans with the black jerseys? LOL. I think the answer is a lot. I mean,
Infinite.
yeah. I mean, they clearly know what they're doing.
I mean, they listen to My God a podcast, so they know.
That's right. That's right.
They know that these are things that we talk about. They
Yeah.
know that uniform Twitter exists. They know that Hunter is constantly churning out uniform iterations, and they take that personally. It's like Michael Jordan, and I took that personally.
Yes. Makes sense. In that was through like a back and forth discussion we had, which because by the way, if you don't know, like it is confirmed, like 100% confirmed, Georgia is wearing red. Clemson with a P. Clemson is wearing white. I will say it was like in the contracts too. I will say Clemson is wearing like they are wearing like all white, so they're wearing like white jersey and white pants. Not like a white
Oh,
helmet, I believe orange. But yeah,
let's see. Are they doing a whiteout? Like, what's going
no, I
on?
mean that could have been the inside sources from Hunter that like Georgia was going to wear all red and then Clemson all white. But
Wasn't there some like isn't there some like running number of like how Georgia plays in red in Atlanta or something like that?
I know, I know, like the thing has been. I guess it is because the counter more what I hear is like, oh, well, Georgia plays better in white there. So,
Yeah,
but we were wearing red when we mopped the floor with Oregon 2 years ago, right?
that's
I'm
true.
pretty sure,
That's true.
and that was a color game, like a color rush ish. It was close. We were in our normal, and Oregon was in all green.
Right.
I am kind of. I guess Clemson wearing all white makes it somewhat of a because this game usually does something. So I don't know how often Clemson wears all white like that, but
It's not the UGA Pro Combat.
oh my gosh, yeah, seriously. And that was in this game.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's see. Bubby Dean. This is a carryover from last week because we tabled it. He said as 14-point favorites, although that has changed a little bit. Does the rat poison penetrate the minds of the dogs and affect preparation for Clemson? What do you think, JP?
I think that I've heard a lot of Kirby talking about this, like the how do you motivate these kids?
Hmm.
Like how do you keep them hungry and that kind of stuff is like the biggest challenge that they feel like they have, right?
Yeah.
Um, I don't think that they do. I will tell you that who's the Joker? I just thought about this. Who's the Joker that the Clemson guy that basically got on the interview and he went kind of viral a little bit a few days ago because he said that they're not an underdog.
Mm, I don't even know.
Stuff like that is like it's just like chef's kiss for Kirby. He's just he's just playing on blast.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Um, I don't know. I guess I just go back to the this year's mantra. Look, this Kirby has this stuff in here for a reason. Assume nothing, and that's what he's. I'm sure that's what he's telling the guys. I mean, I will also
Speaking,
say for these huge first games, he has these guys up. Whenever in one of these
yeah.
big season openers, he doesn't let that stuff creep in.
I mean, he's what, undefeated? He's undefeated or something like that when in season openers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I heard that Dabo was interviewed today. I didn't see the interview, but I saw the article. He said something about that they've been blasting um you know, our fight song basically.
Yeah.
Um, he's been blasting Glory Glory, and I guess that they were asking him about like why they were doing that, and he's like he basically said that we know that it's a neutral site game, but it's in Atlanta and it's going to be like a home game for them. We expect it to be pretty loud. So like I think he's got them geared up for a chip on their shoulder type game situation. And I'm just thinking like what would Kirby do on the opposite? Like I don't even know what Clemson's fight song sounds like. I don't even know that that would be something that would annoy me. But what would annoy me is listening to freaking Dabo Swinney talk for any amount of time. So if I were Kirby, I'd be blasting Dabo Swinney interviews on repeat.
The offense we're trying to operate, and you hear it over the loudspeaker. It's like hickory dickory dock.
Hickory dickory. Coach Dabo got that drip.
Oh my gosh. I'm like
What a
embarrassed for
tool.
him right now with you.
What a
I totally forgot that. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that came up.
I think I made it. Yeah, I think I made a GIF or something like that with that whole thing, but whatever.
Amazing. Okay. Let's see. I think we talked about this already, but this was another one. Trent Thacker. We had carried over from last week. Thoughts on who we might and might not see due to suspensions in the Clemson game. So I guess we already talked about that. So I personally do not expect to see Etienne, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Georgia players stop being dumb.
While we're on that, sorry, Carter. While we're on that, I will say, kind of surprised. They did re-release the Scott Howard pronunciation guide. There are new updates and additions there. Etienne isn't on there, which like is it Etienne? Is it Etienne? I think it's Etienne, but at any rate. So we do need that. But I forgot about this. I feel like we have a new name, a new pronunciation that I feel like is kind of ridiculous. So before we always laughed that they felt the need to put this out there.
Robert Beal.
Like, why do we need that? And so this year we have
Troy Bowles.
like, are we not going to know how to say Troy Bowles? So
maybe it's Bolé.
I don't know. I just thought that was kind of hilarious. So whenever Troy Bowles makes a big play, I'm definitely busting out the Scott Howard microphone.
Troy Bowles.
So I'll be watching for that all season.
He's got the Robert Beal soundbite.
Yeah, exactly.
This soundbite is brought to you by Robert Beal.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's see. Next up, Frigid Shinobu. What will be the most used excuse by Clemson fans when we beat them by 50 plus, coming in hot? I had a thought. I think they will. They'll channel Dabo and they'll blame it on because they don't take transfers or something. That's all I've got.
Yeah. Yeah. Kirby pays. You guys just paid for all your players. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
I would say that. I mean, just to trigger Josh. Yeah, this game doesn't matter. We'll see you in the playoffs.
We're gonna get a voice text from Josh again.
Yes. Especially if you make it the cold open.
Done. That's gotta happen. I gotta say, I've never been so happy. Josh, not don't mean that I'm happy that you were upset with us, or technically with John. Not you, John, with John Smith. Technically with John. But as a person who yells at podcasts while I listen to them, to know that Josh was yelling at us while listening to us made me so happy.
Okay. Thanks for listening, Josh.
Thanks, Josh. Josh, we love you. We mean it. Okay, so next we got Will Garland. I feel like I had something on this at some point. So he wanted to know what kind of numbers does Beck need to put up to dominate the early season Heisman speculation, and who do you think is going to be his go-to target to help jumpstart the campaign? The only thing on that is looking at, I will say, of recent years, the Georgia quarterback doesn't put up the kind of numbers that the Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks put up. But I am curious, things could be changing now with the new 12-team playoff. Also, last time we recorded, John, the tiebreakers weren't out. We talked about the SEC tiebreakers. Now, this is a non-conference game that doesn't matter, according to John. But I will say in the conference games, there's a point where the tiebreakers could get to point differential against common opponents kind of thing. So when you're in league, I don't think you can get mad about running up the score anymore. Because you could actually be in a scenario where scoring a lot of points and having a huge point differential gets you into the SEC championship. based on tiebreakers. So maybe our mindset changes there. Honestly, I think that's going to be the biggest thing is leaving him in the game and throwing the ball, late in games when we're up big because that's the
Is
key
it
we
is
haven't
it
done.
point differential against like certain opponents, or is it overall point differential?
I'd have to go back through it. I think it was like against like common opponents of who you're tied with, kind of thing.
Right. So maybe that's an incentive for him to leave. Maybe it's an incentive for him to leave Carson back in and a little bit longer than he normally would for, depending on the score line, right? Like
Yeah.
if we're blowing him out, then he probably I don't know. I tend to err on the side of that Kirby Smart is not thinking about these things.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Like he's going to win the game, and that's all he cares about. He doesn't care about running up the score. At least that's the gist that we've seen thus far. I don't expect that philosophy to change too drastically. I figure maybe the only thing that might come into play there is later in the season if if things are tighter, at the
Yeah.
top, maybe. But generally speaking, I think Kirby's only concerned with winning the game.
Yep. Agreed. As far as which target, I think it's got to be Dom Lovett. So, that's my pick.
I mean, if you had to put numbers on it though, like if you wanted to say like what numbers does he need? He needs to put up numbers that keep him on schedule to target over 3,000 yards passing.
Yeah.
Like I would say maybe even like 4,000 yards passing with the extra games and stuff. He just needs to stay in within striking distance to stay on schedule with that kind of pace. And so you'd be looking at like
The Heisman is handed out before the postseason though, so we won't have to. Oh man, that's going to be weird now. Like because we don't have that
way weird,
because
right?
we don't have that huge gap like we used to between the end of the regular season and the bowl games. That playoff starts right away, so I'm actually curious to see how it happens with the Heisman. Playoff teams don't have time to be dealing with that. Anyways,
Right.
everything is so different. Okay.
I hate everything.
Let's see. Brian Michelis.
See the regular season does matter, Jim.
See, Josh. Brian Michelis. What true freshman do you think will have the most impact on this game? We talked about Nate Frazier. Is there anyone else that jumps out for you? Because
Sorry, what was the question again?
What freshman will have the most impact on this game?
Like true freshman or
I mean, if you want to throw out a redshirt freshman, I'm not gonna penalize you,
I
John.
mean, I think that Nate Frazier probably has um the best opportunity to make an impact here.
Yeah.
Just because the running back depth is such a question. The other one would be Anthony Evans.
Okay, we're counting him. Yeah, I guess he probably could be considered redshirt freshman.
Right.
What about on the defense? I don't know about Ellis Robinson, like
KJ
or
Bolden.
KG Bolden. Yeah,
That would be
yeah,
my guess.
yep.
Who was the defensive lineman? Mpemba, maybe?
So yeah, and
He's the
I think
linebacker.
he's a yeah, but I mean, and he's a he was here last year, but didn't like hardly play at all. So I would say he's a
Right.
redshirt freshman. So yeah,
Right.
I hadn't heard much about him, but I know Graham mentioned him the other day. So I brought his name up and actually, and we're on like the hour of mentioning Josh. Josh and Chad have that Twitter space. I brought up his name. I was like, is he somebody we could see? And Graham did mention that this week that he's hearing good things about him. So we'll see.
Mhm.
All right, let's see. Rambo. Rambo and John Michael D have some like a wardrobe topic. So Rambo said, "Am I the only one wearing the same underwear all season?" And yes, same shirt, shorts, socks, etc. Duh. I will say I've let it known I have adopted what Hunter Jones taught me, and that is I never repeat. So this way I don't have to. For me, I like it because then I don't have to worry about like is this one thing clean so that I wear it every game or whatever. I don't do that. I actually change every week. I wear something different. There's at least one thing different, and that includes accessories, by the way, like hat, koozie, things like that. Something's different.
Yeah, I have simplified my attire for Georgia games. I have a handful of polos that I really like and enjoy. I do have some black ones that I haven't sported yet because we haven't had a blackout yet. So, but there's that. Got some quarter zips. Like I have a very simple wardrobe. Like
Yeah.
I find what I like, Peter Millar Southern Summer Comfort polos like that, Onward Reserve. All these are not a sponsor yet. Um, if you want to be a sponsor, come talk to us, please.
Uh,
Um, then you got I've got a pair of silver britches, shorts, and long pants, and I usually wear my white Nikes. Like that's my go-to outfits, and
yeah.
it just changes depending on how I feel or what the color scheme is.
I,
Hats, same way.
I post my game day fit every Friday on the Twitter.
Right.
Go check it out. John Michael D said, since Rambo and I have just outed ourselves for being a little stitious, outside of the previously addressed wardrobe strategies, what's the closest non-wardrobe related superstition you guys have surrounding game day?
No
JP,
double logos.
no double logos. Okay, I like that. He did say non-wardrobe related, and he also clarified that he already
I
is
know,
aware of your
I
run.
was I was adding that one.
Okay, fair. He's also you have the morning day of run.
Right.
I don't know that I really. I've
I'm so
tried
out of
to.
shape too, by the way.
I've,
Golly.
I
I'm
have.
so out of shape.
I got
It'd
to.
just be a mile run.
Football season is when I fall off, so I got to stay on the wagon this year. I've tried to minimize it because I am like obsessive over things, and if I have too many things, like I'm like, oh, I have to do this, and like it doesn't matter. I'm telling you, like it doesn't matter. Although yet I still am like, I've got to wear something different. I can't wear the same thing. Like now that's it, but I feel like that's easier. Probably the only thing like I do have I've got like my Saturday morning coffee mug that I always drink out of.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
So I definitely do that. That's probably it. I actually, okay, I'll throw out one other thing. I do have I've got my list of, Georgia podcasts like everyone does. And so I make sure I listen to all the podcasts I listen to. I often will save like 100 Sanford. I usually listen to the day of, actually. Shout out Lamar and company. A lot of times I'll listen to that like on my drive to Georgia, for example,
Right.
when I'm going. So but
We
that's about
talked
it.
about we talked about Chapel Bell. I mean,
They're
hopefully they stay on schedule.
they're on the game day playlist as well. So
But sometimes they don't have an episode.
hey, they're ahead of the game this week.
They're ahead of the game.
All right. Let's see. Chad Jarvis, which I already mentioned. Check out his Twitter space that he hosts on Wednesday nights with Josh, Dog Stats. What are you most excited to see in this game? And then what will we be sipping on at the pregame tailgate? I'll start with that one. It's the Weller Special Reserve and Eat Combos. That's the John Smith special for Georgia Clemson.
And you can also enjoy the Classic City Collective bourbon from ASW, which apparently is a new thing because I've seen it on the Twitter this evening, which I was like, oh, they have a new hunker down. They have a new hunker down bourbon.
Oh, there's a bourbon now?
Yeah, you didn't see?
Well, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, they have a hunker down bourbon now.
Amazing. Nice.
I assume it's going to be something like Fiddler-ish. Is my expectation.
Got it.
I haven't had it, but if I were to guess, I would imagine it's probably going to be Fiddler-ish. But yeah, they have a new bourbon for the hunker down bourbon to match your hunker down vodka.
Nice.
So you can hunker down in many ways.
That's right.
Dear fan, not a sponsor yet.
I'm most excited to see the new move of college football, which is the quarterback with his hands over his helmet so he can hear the play call. I don't know if you noticed that in that Georgia Tech Florida State game. Like Haynes King was like had his hands over his ears every play. I'm just excited for football. I'm excited to get in there, see a bunch of family and friends, and see our dogs play. It's been too long. I'm just ready for football.
Yeah, that would be, yeah, if I were going to the game, that would be very excited. I would be very excited for the tailgate for sure.
Yeah.
In the game specifically, I'm most excited to see a fully operational Bobo offense with an incumbent quarterback, a offensive line that by and large looks like it's about to, have a really strong season. I'm really excited to see that offense just cook, basically.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm really excited to see is Nate Frazier. That's from an offense standpoint, I've heard just so much about this kid. Like you said, Lamar's been hyping him up, and I'm like, okay, okay,
Yeah.
I'm sold. I'm sold. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got, kid.
Agreed.
I'm also excited to see like what weapons develop on the wide receiver core because we've talked about this. We've got so many weapons that we have to deploy. Like who is going to step up and take the place of Brock Bowers as you know, the favorite target, basically.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Let's see. UGA lead dogs. I think we talked about most of these. He also mentioned Sam. One of his was like, what sophomore will make the biggest impact and surprise even dog fans? And he threw out Sam and Pemba. I would love that because I'd love to have someone coming off the edge there. I know there's a ton of CJ
Yeah.
Allen talk. I mean, Raylan Wilson, also sophomore linebacker. So maybe something there. He said, "Will CJ
Malachi,
Allen
is it
lead?"
Malachi Starks, the sophomore?
He's a junior, man. He's old.
Oh,
He's
a
old man
junior.
now.
Okay, he's old hat. He's old hat.
So yeah. So
That's funny.
cool. All right. Let's see. One more. The Hug Dog, Jason Huggins. He said, "Fellas, fired up for the season. Let's play Would You Rather." All right. First one.
Okay.
First one. Would
Do we
you?
need, does Jason need intro music, or would you rather?
Yeah, he might. He might need. His Jason's Would You Rather's.
Jason's would you rather?
All right, first one. Would you rather run down the hill after rubbing Howard's Rock at Clemson, or run out of the tunnel to enter Sandman in Blacksburg? I think I'm gonna go with the latter. With enter Sandman in Blacksburg. That actually does. That one has always seemed kind of cool. And I always think back to that game when we were in college when Georgia Tech was supposed to kick off like on a Thursday night at Virginia Tech, and they did all of that, and then like there was lightning, and then they didn't get to play. But at any rate, I'll go with that. Also, because like we don't play Virginia Tech a lot, and so I don't know how much I want to do that with Clemson. They're a rival. I don't know if I want to do that.
Knowing what I know about Howard's Rock after listening to Chapel Bell Curve about that, we talked about it a couple times, but knowing what I know about the Rock, I would say the Enter Sandman, even though I don't know anything about that. I know it's a thing,
Yeah,
but like I don't know like how big of a thing it is.
I just feel like there's a lot of energy in the stadium, so
Right.
I like that.
Right.
All right, this last one. Would you rather sit in a suite in the Benz versus Clemson, or stand on the sidelines for the game?
Are you going to answer that first, or do you want me to answer?
If you want to go first, I'm actually
Where
kind of
is
torn, honestly.
where is Jason at?
Great clarifying question.
Wherever Jason is where I want to be. I
answer.
assume that Jason would be in the suite, maybe, because that's where all the booze and all the opportunity, like food, you got all the tailgate atmosphere is right there in your face,
Right.
and then you can literally just walk out there and go and get the game atmosphere. I mean, it's like it's the suite experience. Once you've experienced it, it's just like it spoils you for a lot of stuff. So.
Something I don't know about Mercedes-Benz.
To be clear, I haven't experienced it for a Georgia game, but I have been to multiple suites, and it's always way better than sitting in the regular seats. It's
So,
like first class.
so I've been in a suite at Georgia, like one, I think just once. What weirds me out is they're enclosed in glass, and so I feel disconnected. Like I can't hear the crowd. So
But don't they have seats like right in front of the glass that you open the door? Like, I mean,
I don't
every
know.
suite I've
I
every
didn't go
suite
out
I've been
there.
in has. You didn't?
The one that
Okay.
I went to, I was inside the whole time. I'll just say that.
That's weird.
And I don't like it. It feels weird, personally. So
Okay.
that's where I was going to say for Mercedes Benz. I actually don't like. Are the suites open? Are they closed in? I'm assuming they're open.
They're open.
So I'll go with the suite then because I want it open. The other thing is like when you're down in the field, like I'm a big vantage point person, and I actually don't like being super low. As you can't see what's going on. Like I prefer
Right,
to be
right.
high. I prefer to have a good view of everything. So just off of that, I'll take the suite.
Like
too.
you're gonna be standing on the sideline and have to look over at Oscar Dell. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And like
Oscar, could you please move? I didn't see the first down.
correct. And you're like, and you're seeing that, and you're standing on the field looking at the jumbotron to see what happened.
Right,
You know?
right.
So yeah, so I'll take the suite as well.
Yeah, for this game, if it was like a national championship or something like that, I might swing towards the sideline.
You reserve the right to change your answer for different games.
I reserve the right to change my mind.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for everyone who submitted questions. And we got one more to round us out.
My God, a freshman.
Going to put glasses on it. Oh, my God!
1980 rule, brother.
It is time for Coaches Over-Unders. The CBS music doesn't get played for the SEC, but we don't care. We're going to play it anyways. All right. Let's see. We'll just run through these. All right. Let's see. I will go first and we will rotate. First up, Clemson offensive pass yards, 325. I'm going to say over. I meant under. Sorry. God, I'm already messing it up. I'm going to say under.
Man, I thought
Under.
I was gonna have you on one. I'm gonna go under.
Okay.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
That's right. All right. So then this one is, I believe, Georgia. So he just, because he's just to you, over under Georgia, 125 yards rushing.
Georgia. Okay. I'll go over.
Okay. I'm going to go over as well. Then over under 7.5 Georgia players with a catch. That's a lot. We're both like counting our fingers. I'll go over. I'm going to mix in, we're going to mix in some running backs and some tight ends. So I'll go over.
You also have to factor in like, what if it's a blowout? Like, you said you went over.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna hedge my season long coaches bets.
Okay.
And just say agree with you.
Okay. Okay. Over to you. Over under 3.5 sacks for the Georgia defense.
I'm gonna go under.
Under. Okay. I'm going to go over.
Ah.
Try to extend my lead now. Clemson rush yards over under 125. I feel like that's a good solid line. I'm gonna be aggressive and say under.
I'm also gonna go under. That was my
Okay.
first thought.
All right. Clemson over under 9.5 first half points. Over to you.
I'm gonna go under.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, they only scored 3 points the whole game last time.
I like it.
Over under the special teams. Over under punts returned by Colorado. I saw CU. I think of Colorado by Clemson. Yeah. Clemson with a P. Over under 0.5. I mean, I gotta go under. Gotta go
under. You gotta go under.
And then 2021 game references made during the telecast. Over under 3.5. To you, JP.
I'm gonna go under.
Under? Ooh, do I dare to like make? I'm gonna go under. I'm scared to differ from you on some of these because I feel like it could cause controversy.
The toss-ups are tough at the early season already.
Yeah.
We're already thinking thinking about how this is going to impact it.
Coach also added some pick'em games. I know sometimes we talk about some kind of games of the week at the very end. You want to hit these now, or do you want to do those after we do Georgia?
Let's do it after. Yeah, let's do it after.
Okay, we'll come back to that. All right. So for our predictions, let's see. The last I looked, Georgia was a 13.5 point favorite with an over-under. 14 is what someone said in the question, but it did move.
Okay.
And if it moved, it may have moved again. But
I didn't open that link. Let me see.
Yeah, it's 13.5.
Okay.
With an over-under of 48.5. I did a 49. So that would make Georgia it'd be like 27-14, 27-13, something like that. Would be the implied score based on the over/under and the spread. Mm-hmm. Let's see, their predicted score that may have changed. So the OddsShark predicted score is 39. Georgia 39.2 to Clemson 23.8. That's about the input that we've got. I didn't do like the scoring impact just because we don't have any this year. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Actually, the only other one I did find, Parker Fleming, stats award. He had, he had Georgia like 38-22. So that's what he had.
Pretty close to the OddsSharks.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they had the same out. Interesting. All right. So I don't know. They've only beat us. What was it? 11 times since 19.
Yeah, the victory seems like statistically in our favor for sure, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've played pretty well against them. I mean, I will say I would be surprised if it's as much of a defensive struggle as 2021. I do expect there to be more points than that. But I also see these people kind of like, I think that the kind of out there, the analytics people are saying like Georgia wins fairly handily. The question I saw out there was like, does Georgia jump on Clemson early like with Oregon 2 years ago, or does Georgia kind of like pull away late kind of thing? Honestly, I'm not sure. I could see either way. But I think Kirby's got these guys. He's going to have them ready to go. He's going to have them fired up. I mean, I'm going back to what you said too. Like year 2 of Bobo and Beck, Bobo's not breaking in a new quarterback. That's exciting. So I'm going to go Dogs. I'm going to go 34-10.
Ooh, okay. I like that. I like that score line. I would be incredibly happy with that score line.
Yeah.
So 34-10. Okay. Now you got me second guessing myself.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
You got me second. These close to 40 points on, score lines versus what we did to them when we had like an all-world team
in 2021.
Yeah.
Can I like make you feel a little bit better about that?
Yeah.
We weren't playing the mailman. I mean, come on.
I mean, obviously, but like still.
Here was the also JT was playing hurt in that game. That was literally Brock Bowers' first game ever, and Ladd McConkey. They had never played for Georgia before.
Right.
Tate had like just gotten hurt. We didn't know who was going to be, offensive guard. It was Cedric Van Pran's first start at center. Like there was a lot of breaking in going on, and our receiver core was very depleted. Like A.D. Mitchell wasn't playing yet. Like the offense was, it wasn't the same guys that were doing that stuff later in the season that played in that game.
I'm gonna go 36-22.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Cool. I like it. Go in there into the bends, come out a win is all.
Yeah, just win, baby.
Just win, baby.
I mean, this game doesn't matter. This game doesn't matter at all. That's gonna be the lead for the season.
I will say that was yeah. I feel like Josh had a pretty compelling argument as to why it does matter. But
yeah, I mean it's the same. It's the same thing that waiting since last Saturday's talked about. Like I tend to agree like that beating teams is way better than losing to teams. So because when the chips are down at the end of the day, if you've beaten good teams, then any question about whether or not you should be there in the dance is going to be pretty obvious.
Yeah.
It's in your best interest to just win, baby.
Yeah, for sure. All right. We can look at let's see the other games the coach had mentioned. So his first one was Virginia Tech against Vandy. That one is in Nashville at the Titans Stadium.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is there like a significance there? Like what?
No, it's just like I don't know, SEC, ACC challenge or something. I don't know. They're probably playing there because Vanderbilt Stadium is still under construction.
Got him. Oh man, can you imagine? There's going to be like some really confused bachelorette parties in Nashville.
Yeah. I feel like you're playing Enter Sandman. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, obviously you got Virginia Tech in that game, right?
Yeah, I do. Then you got Miami against Florida. That one is that's actually the 3:30.
Jim.
Yeah.
Jim.
Oh, sorry. I said it
You
wrong.
mispronounced Florida.
Florida. That is the 3:30 game on ABC. So ABC does still have 3:30 games. That's like a triple header on ABC, by the way, on Saturday.
That's hilarious that Florida is still going to end up on CBS to start the season.
Yeah.
Like, we're still on CBS.
No. It's the old CBS time. This is ABC. It's a triple header on ABC on Saturday. It's our game, then this game, and then there's a night.
I know. I'm just saying that Florida's like, we're still on CBS.
Gotcha. I got to go with Miami in this one.
Yeah, I got to go with Miami to put the L on Florida.
Okay. Let's see. The third game of that triple header on ABC, the night game, Notre Dame against Texas A&M.
Notre Dame versus the Colt. Got it.
Yeah. Notre Dame is ranked 7th, Texas A&M 20th.
Yeah, dude, can we please like how is Notre Dame ranked so high? Like what did I miss?
I don't know. I don't
Like
get it. I don't get it.
why are they ranked so high?
They have the transfer from Duke at quarterback.
I mean, when in history has that ever been a good thing?
I will say this new playoff is set up very nicely for them. I will say.
Seriously, like Notre Dame could just like coast through beating up on everybody random like and just slide in, right? Like as a
Because they're not,
top ranked group of five, right?
yeah, I mean they exactly. Yeah, so let's say they run the table, right? So then they're probably the 5 seed. That's the highest they can get. If they get that 5 seed, then yeah, then they open with a home game against the 12 seed, which is either the top ranked probably the most likely will be the highest ranked group of 5 conference champion, most likely. Then you win that, then you get the 4 seed. So which could be like a Big 12 or ACC champ, right? Because they've got to be a conference champ. Again, that's not going to be one of these at-large teams that got in. So I feel like that's a pretty sweet setup. The 5 seed is a good spot to be in if you didn't play in a conference championship game. So
Interesting. Who you got in that game, Jim?
oh man, I don't know. So Mike Elko, new coach at A&M. I guess I'll go Notre Dame. Like I don't see why they're ranked so high, but I don't know that A&M is ready to like hit the ground running right off the bat with new coach.
Right. Where's that game being played at?
I believe it's at A&M.
Notre Dame's played there before we have. That's amazing.
That is.
Oh man. Yeah, I'll go with the Golden Domers. Maybe somebody knows more about that than I do, but yeah, we'll go with the Domers. Yeah. Hey, on the plus side, talking about these games don't matter. Like, hey, that would be another SEC team that has a loss on their schedule. So whatever.
True. All right, I was trying to figure out where this game is. Yeah, it is at Texas A&M from what I'm seeing. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Notre Dame at Texas A&M.
All right. And then we've got last one, USC against LSU. That one is in Vegas. And that game is on Sunday at 7:30 p.m.
Hold up. Wait, hold up. There's a game in Las Vegas and LSU's playing in it?
Correct.
Oh man, that's gonna be that. I mean, that's a fun trip for LSU.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, when is the game?
It's Sunday night. So because this is Labor Day weekend. So there's
Oh my gosh, Saunders is gonna be there for this game.
really
I'm gonna text him.
okay.
Yeah, he's going to. Saunders is going to Las Vegas for his birthday this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, he's gonna be there with a bunch of Cajuns and USC fans. That's hilarious.
Amazing. I'm gonna go with the Cajuns. I'm gonna say LSU takes down USC.
Yeah, I'll go with the Cajuns. That would be funny. Where are they playing?
At the Raiders Stadium.
At the Raiders Stadium? That's a weird. Is that weird? I don't know.
It's like one of these. I mean, it was. We were playing at the Falcon Stadium. Like it's.
I guess, yeah. I mean,
It's one of the. It's one of these kickoff games.
Has there always been a kickoff game in the Raiders Stadium? Because there's always been a kickoff game in the Dome.
Well, that stadium's only like this is only like year 2 of that stadium's existence. So, not that I'm aware of. I don't recall there being one there last year, but
Got it.
so yeah,
Cool.
I would expect that to be that's going to be a whole new thing. Games being played there. So cool. All right, that's what we got. So you enjoy.
So we have some other games that are out there too, right? Florida State, Boston College. Is Florida State going to start the season 0-2?
I don't think so. That game is Monday, so that's a Monday night game. I do remember there was a lot of talk about like Florida State was going to stay an extra day after the game against Tech so they could do sightseeing because like they didn't have a game on Saturday. They didn't play again until Monday. I guess they still stayed and did that, but man, brutal. I'm going to say yes. I don't know anything about Boston College, so I'm going to say bounce back game for Florida State, and then they take care of business Monday night.
A bounce back game, yeah. That said, it would be hilarious to just see a complete meltdown of Florida State again.
Oh, I mean, that would, dude, if they lose this game, that would be crazy. That'd be crazy.
I'm still of the opinion that Norvell is like I feel like that Norvell is like a successful version of what's his face at South Carolina.
Mm. Beamer.
Beamer, Shane Beamer. Yeah, totally blanked on. Yeah. He's like a successful version of Shane Beamer.
Interesting. I can see that. All right. Well, let's see. I'll be down there for the game. You'll be down there for the stuff on Friday. And
Yes.
I'm just excited. Like I said, I'm excited for getting back into the swing of things. I'm ready for this. It was a lot of changes. Going to be different stuff, but I'm excited, man. We'll
Yeah, let's
see.
kick it off.
Kick off this new era of college football. Let's kick it off with a win.
Yeah, seriously. It's gonna be a fun ride. It's gonna be a fun ride. And regardless of our joking, I do think that these games matter,
Yeah, yeah,
and we're gonna roll. We're gonna roll the Tigers, and Dabo's gonna be sad, and it'll be amazing.
nice, love it.
Go Dogs.
Go dogs.